Live from the apocalypse. Welcome to Freemusicempire. State of the game. I, the Yosemite Sam of Southern Maine, Dan-O, and my co-host, was known in the tri-state area as both the Beauty and the Beast, Diggy. I'm spooky today. You like this?
Yeah, man, I like it.
So we had, this was supposed to be a fun like diversion here, the 1997 mission, right? It's what we're calling it here. To pick three albums that were like vitally important to 1997, and one in each genre. And it turned out to be much harder than we thought.
Yeah.
The nature of this thing is that, you know, Freemusicempire is too on top of the zeitgeist. We are, the zeitgeist is like, give me a break, you know? And you got to take a break, go back in time. And 1997 is an interesting year to me. Can I tell you why?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the time, the date that starts everything is December 15th, 1992. That's when The Chronic comes out. Okay? The Chronic is the first The Chronic is the first rap album with a monstrous machine behind it that is perfect for radio, but disgusting, right?
Okay.
So The Chronic takes over. It is everywhere. It is everywhere. And the sales are like no rap album has ever experienced before. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you know what else sells The Chronic? Doggy Style. Doggy Style sells 4 million to their 3 million. So the next year. So the appetite grows exponentially, right? But it starts December 15th, 1992, right?
Oh, okay.
From 1992, that date, until the death of Biggie, there is an influx of everything we talk about as the golden year. When people talk about the golden era of 90s hip hop, that's what they mean, 92 to 97, really. Because they're talking about Biggie, Nas, you know, Pac, all these people, right? Tribe Called Quest. I mean, it goes on and on. Outkast, right? Scarface coming into his own. Bone Thugs, yes. I mean, it's just it's everything. It's just the doors open and everything's coming through, and there's a joy to it. There's a naivete to it. There's just like this, you know, wave. But then the close deaths of Biggie and of Pac and Biggie really shock things back. And by 97, the machine itself knows that it needs to incorporate rap music and urban music, right? Black music, but it doesn't know how it fits, right? If you look at the top selling people in 1997, did you see this? It's Shania Twain and Garth Brooks.
Spice Girls too, I think. Yeah.
Garth Brooks can't jump in the studio with Diddy and drop heat. It's not going to work, right?
Right.
So how do you bridge the gap? What is, you know? So I think that's one of the things that interested me. One of the things that very much interested me about it, and so we should go over some of it. Did you get my email earlier today about the evaluative test?
Yes.
Yeah. My boy Charles Wright Mills. I was on a boat. I don't care about boats. One way or another. It doesn't excite me. It's just a vehicle. But so I was reading sociology on this boat. And he's describing three types of sociologists, right? The grand theorists. These are people who are always getting ready to get ready. They never get there. So if they put out a 500-page book, 75 pages is actually real shit. Then he's talking about the scientists. He said they'd just as be happy to have IBM on their lab coats as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for numbers, and they're looking for something with the power of the atom bomb in social sciences that they can use against people. So he was mean to everybody. He's great. He says the third party is who I'm a part of, and these are third camp is composed of sociologists who are trying to perform three major tasks, which may be stated in this way. First is, what is the meaning of this, whatever we are examining, for our society as a whole? And what is this social world like? Second, what is the meaning of this for the types of men and women that prevail in this society? And how does this fit into the historical trend of our times? And in what direction does this main drift seem to be carrying us?
Mm.
So that applied to what we talked about. What sticks out? Does that fit for you as an evaluation for?
Yeah, it does. I think it forms a context. It gives a context to what we're going to talk about today. You know what I mean? Because I did find, like, doing the research, I did find that there was a distinction. There's a difference between what I liked the most and what I felt had the most impact.
Wow, interesting. That is
Yeah.
interesting. Let's do rock first.
Okay.
Let's do it. So with rock, so there's firstly, I think there's a category of music that is too big for us to even cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
OK Computer fits into that. I'm not going to re-listen to OK Computer and give you my take on OK Computer by Radiohead. Everyone knows OK Computer. If you Google it, there's been smarter people than me who have written about that album.
Right.
It's very artistic, and I think it ruined a lot of my favorite local bands. I'll be honest. I think a lot of my favorite local bands thought they could do that after they heard that, and they couldn't. And they became obsessed with that sound. So that's off the table for me. So Bjork is similar kind of situation, I think. She had an album that came out then. What I was noticing with the releases is 1997 is clearly a year in rock where the commercial stuff starts getting put in a completely different lane.
Yes.
Art
Agreed
stuff.
with that.
The art rock has its own lane, and the machine that is like the music industry in 97. This is pre-streaming, pre-everything. Big budgets, big videos, right?
Yep.
Hyper Williams. The machine doesn't have any tolerance for the art stuff.
No.
They're moving on, man. They've got Third Eye Blind. They've got Goo Goo Dolls. They're moving on. They're throwing it up on
single. Those guys had singles. Yep.
97, Smash Mouth, right? I mean, they're moving.
Blur.
Yeah. They're picking what they want, and they're going with it. Blur may be a happy medium between the art and the commercial stuff, but a lot of it was. I was joking about this earlier today that 97's was when you started to get the really bad rock music that I hate. It was like they had one single, but no one remembered the band.
Yeah.
Although that's the Sex and Candy band, or
Yeah.
that's
Marcy said
the
that.
Chumbawamba. That's the
Yeah.
like a bunch of guys with Lucy's that if you listen to like oh that song by the New Radicals, I like that song. And you listen to the album, you're like that's the only song on this album.
That's yeah. I ran into that a lot as well doing research.
Yeah. So the two that stuck out to me above the others were "Dig Me Out" by Sleater-Kinney and "Either or" by Elliott Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Very different reasons. Hey, did you hear both or just the Elliott Smith?
Just Elliott Smith.
Okay. Sleater-Kinney is a band. I mean, that album came out in 1997. They had a killer album last year.
Right.
The reason they're in the conversation is "Dig Me Out" has real muscle behind it, dude. That's a rock album. And they still have that muscle to their music.
Mm-hmm.
The music still goes. It's thoughtful, it's well composed, but it's power, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really something a lot of the music misses. Some of the bands with power don't have direction.
Right.
And
Now,
they
how would you define power? What do you mean when you say have power?
like a guitar riff that takes over your mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Legendary guitar riffs, you can just make the sound with your mouth and you're like, oh, that fucking song. You know what I mean?
Right.
I walked around in high school with Black Sabbath riffs just in my head all day. Just do, 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 do. There was real power to the music. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
real, it felt huge and important. And I can put on "Dig Me Out" in the backyard, and my 7-year-old can go nuts outside. Like, just enjoy it because it's awesome. But I can also listen to it and enjoy it. So it was tough, but really, either or is something else. It's something else. What was your experience with it?
I mean, it didn't resonate with me per se, but here's what, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying, like my favorite albums, like the things that I really liked may not have been the most influential, but what I was thinking about, so when I was doing research for the rock category,
Mm-hmm.
like I was listening to all of these, like the biggest singles and the biggest rock, and try and listen to some of the biggest rock albums of '97. And I recognized like all of those songs, like there's nothing, rock doesn't sound like it did in '97. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
yes,
I can't,
absolutely.
it doesn't sound like it does now. Like there's no one that I can tie now directly to a '97 artist. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the Elliott Smith, I could hear a connection.
Yeah, I mean it's from a compositional standpoint, I would say think of Elliott Smith as the bench player who only takes 6 shots a game and hits 5 of them every game.
Mm.
And you're like, how does this guy live on this? He
Right.
doesn't even get that many minutes. He takes 6 shots, he hits 5 of them, and he sits back down. Like the songs are pretty simple, right?
Right.
He plays all the instruments.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's no one else. There's no Elliott Smith and the Heartbreakers. It's Elliott Smith, and he does all of it. And so when he got placement on the Good Will Hunting soundtrack,
Mm-hmm.
and he was nominated for an Oscar for the song Miss Misery, and he was nominated opposite Celine Dion, like the Titanic.
My heart will go on. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to My Heart Will Go On. but he got to perform at the show in this white suit, like, and he was all alone, and there was like an orchestra behind him that kind of didn't know what to do because it's just like his song. So he's a great guitar player, I think, in terms
Yeah.
of being able to create warm space um, in the music. That 2:45 a.m. song is my favorite song on Either Or.
Yes. I was gonna say there's a level of intimacy.
Oh yeah, and so you can hear, like, I was walking around going do 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 do, because like that is just so simple and so well done.
Hmm.
It just doesn't miss. It just doesn't miss, and the songs are so well crafted. They're so poetic. They're so personal. Um, it's He doesn't miss, and you can see it now with King Cruel, right? King Cruel has
Yeah.
this kind of personal connection to his audience.
Yeah.
It is descendant of Elliott Smith.
Yeah. That's the word I wanted to use. Like for most of 97 rock, like I couldn't, like I'll be honest, like my favorite, I guess, rock song of 97 was Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve.
Oh yeah.
But then
Yeah,
when but it's like what you said, when I listened to the album, that was the best song on the album, and
sure.
that was the first song, and then
Right.
the rest of it was just like
Yeah.
And you got a lot of that with 97 rock. Like the singles were huge. Like Third Eye Blind, go back to Third Eye Blind. I think Third Eye Blind maybe had 2 huge singles in that year, but the rest of the album was just okay to me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the people like there wasn't anybody putting it all together, and
Yeah.
it seemed like it's very intelligent music, right? Let me pull up some Elliott Smith. We can talk about this stuff. 2:45 a.m. As I said. By the way, the cover of Either Or is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
I should explain that Either Or is a Soren Kierkegaard book. It's his most important book. Um, it is broken into sections. There is a guy who is the lascivious player type, who is like running through relationships and using women. And he's writing letters to this guy he knows called the judge, who is a judge and is in a committed relationship. And they're kind of talking smack to each other about how they disagree with each other's lives. It's about this perspective and the right way to live.
Mm.
It's very interesting that he would name it after that book. So yeah, I mean the first verse. I'm going out sleepwalking where mute memories start talking. The boss that couldn't help but hurt you, and the pretty thing you made desert you. I'm going out like a baby, a naive, unsatisfiable baby, grabbing onto whatever's around for the soaring high or the crushing down, with hidden cracks that don't show, but that constantly just grow.
Well, man, it's like you say, you have a saying about how if you can read something, like if you can read someone's lyrics without any music and it sounds good, then you know that's a good song.
I totally understand that it's like the oldest perspective in the world, that like people today don't care about that, and it's like a streaming culture, and it's does this rock or does this not, yes or
Yeah.
no. Things are much more streamlined. But yeah, man, I poured over these lyrics, like, and I grew up kind of doing that. So if I'm interested enough, I'm gonna pull you up in what I do. It's just, yeah, Elliott Smith. The thing that really stuck out to me, and this is why ultimately I went with Elliott Smith, colored my listening of it. This is the album of the 3 that I've heard the most.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah, it just because I can just keep doing it. But it's whenever I would say, "Hey guys, I'm doing this '97 thing, got this rock stuff. What do you think?" They would say, Elliott Smith, that album means so much to me. That Elliott Smith means a lot to me.
Wow.
They would say, "Oh, this album's great, but that Elliott Smith means a lot to me."
Right.
And it just everybody kind of saying that same expression the same way. I was like, man, this is some real shit. This is like, there's only a few fan bases who feel this connection.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Tori Amos fans and shit, and Tupac fans, and
Yeah.
King Gruel fans, and there's artists who gut themselves when they write or when they perform, and if you're great at it, the audience never lets go of you.
Right.
Never. I mean, Eminem fans are like this. There's no question, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Successfully gutted himself, and he'll never lose that base of fans. Period.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's amazing, and the other one is, I think maybe it might be the best song about alcoholism, Between the Bars.
Mm.
Did you take in any of this stuff?
The best song about alcoholism. No, I
Between the
listened to it, but
Bars.
yeah, go ahead and read me.
So let me and if you're into the first verse, I'd be interested in reading the second one. Drink up, baby, stay up all night. With the things you could do, you won't, but you might.
Okay, this song, yeah.
The potential you'll be that you'll never see. The promises you'll only make. Drink up with me now and forget all about the pressure of days. Do what I say, and I'll make you okay and drive them away. The images stuck in your head. Yeah, the last verse is drink up, baby, look at the stars. I'll kiss you again between the bars, where I'm seeing you there with your hands in the air, waiting to finally be caught. Drink up one more time and I'll make you mine, keep you apart, deep in my heart, separate from the rest, where I like you the best, and keep the things you forgot. Yeah.
Wow. Like I didn't even pick up on some of the, I mean, wow.
It's weird. You kind of got to live with this stuff. Like,
Right.
It's weird.
Because it's deceiving, like the way he sings, like you don't, not that it's necessarily happy, but you can't tell how melancholic it is, I guess you could say.
Colicky. He's a colicky baby. No, no, you're right. I was thinking about a way to describe this. You tell me if it makes sense. I was
Okay.
saying that there's a jaunty Baby Beatles quality to it.
What does jaunty mean? I don't know.
Jaunty means like bouncy, like
Yes.
like a
Yes.
sailor dancing or something.
Yeah.
It's jaunty. It moves, right?
Yes.
There's a
That's what.
bounce to it, but he also has a cleanness to his delivery
Yes.
and a seriousness to his delivery with the bounciness that kind of gives a Baby Beatles effect. A little bit of that McCartney Lennon kind of vibe to
I
it.
agree with that.
Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I think
Yes.
that's what, and that's why it's never depressed me. People are always like very depressing stuff, and I'm like, I love it. I can just
Right.
get, but it's actually not that way. It's
Right.
different. But yeah, no, it's I think it's pretty interesting, and I definitely enjoyed going over it. There is an expanded edition on Bandcamp at Kill Rockstars record label that you can check out if you want to get in. But yeah, no. So ultimately, you didn't find it depressing.
Right.
You found it
No.
listenable. It just didn't. stick out to you at first, or?
Yeah, it was like a mood. It was like a vibe. You know what I mean? Like I put it on because I was doing some work. So maybe the way, like the things you read, like I didn't pick up
Mm-hmm.
on the seriousness of the themes of what he was singing, because like you said, there's that bounce to it. Like it's like the music. It's almost deceiving, kind of what he's singing about doesn't perfectly line up with how the music sounds.
So my last Elliott Smith point, and this is a big one, is
Okay.
in terms of vibes. And I've always liked vibes as a word. It's used much more now than it was. But you think you need to think of vibes in terms of different species of animal, right? Different vibes. So the one I always use, because everybody knows this when I say it, is barbecue music.
Okay.
Close your eyes and you
Yep.
picture the music at a barbecue, you can picture it, right?
Right.
You close your eyes, you picture the music at a school dance, you can picture it, and it's different.
Right.
And Elliott Smith is rainy day music.
Mm. That's a good way.
And
That's
the
a good way to
sky
put
looks
it.
like it's
Yeah.
dark behind me, and, and it's dark and it's weird, and you feel alone. It's rainy day music. You can put it on, and it's there for your pain.
That's a good way to put. Because I do believe that. I do believe that certain music only really hits in certain contexts. You know what I mean? Like you have to listen to get the full message or full impact of that album or that body of work. You have to listen to it in like a certain context.
And so, as an example, I don't know if you saw the High Fidelity reboot thing on Hulu.
No.
There's a scene, and I'm not like the biggest Frank Ocean guy. I'm into Frank Ocean. I think he's a little overrated at this point, but that's fine.
Mm.
It's whatever. But the reason I can never I'll never besmirch his good name is that's something the High Fidelity nails. A date goes really wrong. She fucks it up. She fucks it up with somebody that she should fucking be nice to, and she knows it. She leaves that date pissed at herself, but can't verbalize it. She puts in the headphones. She presses play, and it's Nikes.
Wow.
Walks home, listening to Nikes, and I said, "That's fucking Frank Ocean. That's why you need Frank Ocean. Nikes make sense for that moment. That's that,
Yes.
right? Vibes really are like animal species, and this is a species you need. You need rainy day music. You need music that hurts more than you do.
That's a good point.
So Elliott Smith is that way. Also, I spent a lot of time today on Reddit threads with conspiracy theories about his death. It is insane. Uh, feel free to check that out. It's out there. Um, so wild. But moving forward here, let's do rap next.
Okay.
We'll leave
Yeah.
R&B for the next thing. The rap was solid for me from the get go, and trust me, it's a great year for rap. Can't Blow Uptown Saturday Night is a wonderful album. Adrenaline Rush by Twista is an incredible album. Um, Ghetto Dope by Master P is one of my favorite albums, and it's what convinced Snoop Dogg to like move over there. I think.
Hmm.
But really, when it comes to Missy Elliott's first album, Super Duper Fly,
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand how good this is.
Yeah.
I posted about how great her album was years ago. Um, and Nico is popped out of nowhere on Twitter was like, yes, the Buster Rhymes intro is amazing. This album rules. And I was like, yeah, You know, like, and I don't think when people are talking about the best rappers, they don't put her in the conversation like that.
Right.
And
I mean, that album was ahead of its time. It just doesn't, and that's probably why. I mean, like, if you listen to it in the context of 97 rap hip hop, it's like completely, it's like an alien. Like, it's completely out of the realm of what hip hop was sounding like at that time.
totally, 100%. I mean, if you want to test how classic an album is, and this is a funny test, because it's hard for an album that is as long as Super Duper Fly to be as good as it is. Structure, it's like 17 songs or something.
Right.
Go to the chunky middle go to the, like, close to the end, right before the end. If it's 17 songs, go to 14, go to 13. See if the artist is winded.
That's a good test.
They're starting to tread and run out, and they're not. I'm talking is fantastic. You know, like Why You Hurt Me or whatever, amazing. So it doesn't lose steam. To me, it's perfect. It's a perfect album that is on the level of Reasonable Doubt, Illmatic, Ready to Die, any of the sacred texts. It is a sacred text.
Yeah.
In my estimation. And I have her like 7 all time on my MC list.
Yeah. I mean, you can hear descendants, like the descendants of that album. You can hear that a lot in hip hop today.
Oh yeah. What was
that DNA is in hip hop today?
Oh yeah. What was re-listening to it like? What do you think?
That was the first time I've ever listened to it, actually. Like, I remember Super Duper Fly.
Yep.
Because I remember being a kid and watching the video. But I'd never listened to the album in full.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy cover. I love the cover.
Yeah.
I love the cover because it's oddly sexual. The camera is still like gazing kind of up her leg at her chilling out, but she's showing him the shoe. Flexing the bottom of the Air Force One. Like, she looks very good, but she didn't have to work very hard to get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of the essence of what she was doing, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing that stood out for me, and I took notes while I was listening to it, is, I mean, the level of confidence that she had on a first album was I mean, incredible. Like, she came out of the gate knowing who she was, knowing what her sound was, and you don't really hear that too often.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just the level of confidence that she had was phenomenal.
Let's go over some numbers. With 7.6 million albums sold in the U.S., Missy Elliott is not only a trailblazer but a record holder. She's the best-selling female rap artist in Nielsen history as of 2015, 2016. And the people who eclipse her, by the way, it'll be bullshit because it'll be this bundle streaming, right? I gave you a free download with a cup, Get out of here. So the cookbook sold 657,000 copies. It was like her lowest selling album.
Wow.
This is not a test, 705,000. The Real World, platinum. Super Duper Fly, platinum. Miss E So Addictive, 1.7. Under Construction, 2 million. Let's go over the singles. Get Your Freak On, platinum. Hot Boys, platinum. Talk It To Me, gold. Work It, platinum. Lose Control, 2 times platinum. Uh, Where They From, WTF, platinum. Um, she wrote most of Aaliyah's One in a Million. She wrote a few songs on The Bachelor, Genuine's album.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
She co-produced and wrote the song Baby Doll on Mariah Carey's album Butterfly. Um, she produced for SWV 702, MC Light, Monica, Maya, Tweet, Total, and wrote for some of those people. Yeah, dude. It's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, what I love about it is she's so humble. You know what I mean? Like, just that was another thing that I took away her from the album was, well, she was confident, but at the same time she was humble. So
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
I would say cool, stylish, and weird,
yeah,
right? And there was a whole crop of those people in '97. She's a part of that, right? Think about it. You got cool, stylish, and weird. That's Erykah Badu.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
Nirvana. That's Outkast. There's a lot of people who are just like weirdos and loving it, right? You've still got E40 out in the Bay, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's monumental. There's a shift. There's an undercurrent of weird people totally changing, and the audience is looking for it. The audience is looking for that. We could do.
Right.
Let me read some. Doreen St. Felix for the New Yorker had an incredible revisiting of this album. In July of 1997, she released her solo album. Elliott was thinking beyond impulses like realism, which defined the rap of the 80s and the gangster rap of the early 90s, and materialism, which preoccupied the new black conglomerate class. Super Duper Fly is a kind of biography. Elliott and Timbaland developed a grammar, collecting extra musical noises, sighs, women giggling, coughs, babies gurgling, and stacking them so that they became instruments in and of themselves.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid to experiment with sounds that were nearer to the grotesque than the beautiful.
Yeah.
What was the... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The last bit of that part was, and this is my favorite part, Elliott fashioned a vision of black female sexuality that decentered the body. She was often cloaked in costumes, in slabs of makeup, frolicking in fantasy worlds. She embodied the ghetto fabulous, the impossible reconciliation of opposed fashions. Sometimes she wasn't even human. Elliott seemed plugged into the cyber-feminist premonition that the internet would usher in a post-gender age. On Super Duper Fly, Crisco Oil is erotic, and Unrequited Love can be the sound of rain against the window. Elliott's approach to sex and female pleasure was empowering because of its thickness, because it was coded, available only to those willing to do the work of unscrambling.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Shout out to St. Felix on that. That was awesome.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I like the notion of like you had to work for it.
Yeah.
You had to work to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that passage about the decentralization of the body in regards to sex. I mean, because if you look at, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't consider Missy to be a sexual rapper, but a lot of the things she raps about are, or I shouldn't say a lot of things, like she touched on the topic of sexuality. And the way that she did it, like if you contrast that to a way that, you know, a little Kim did that, who's also on this album.
Sure.
It's just very interesting. It's more about, it's not about like sexuality is not about the body. It's more about like a swag to her. I don't know if I'm like, it's more like it goes deeper than the body.
Right. Yeah, descending the body. It's, you know, and it's kind of the sexuality you develop as you get older, right? Hopefully. Hopefully, as you get older, you get to the point where you're not just hunting bodies,
Mm,
where you're looking for people.
yes.
You're looking for, like, yeah, you know, someone nice who's not going to bring a bunch of hell to your life,
Right.
and that can start to take precedence along with like these other physical characteristics. Um, and Missy's bringing a lot of personality to the table,
Absolutely. Yes.
a lot of skill to the table, uh, a very attractive voice to the table,
Yep.
talking crazy fun stuff. So you're like, she's like someone you fall for.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you can just fall into the album like that, and it's amazing. And the amazing part was, I've talked to you about this before, about how messed up the 90s were in terms of narratives. um, and one of the narratives that comes out of Missy's like triumphant escalation into the spotlight is that Missy is like a lesbian who is pimping other female artists.
No.
That was something people were jabbering at me in the 90s. But even then, I wasn't a Missy fan. Even then, I was like, guys, every song she has is about fucking a guy. What are you talking about? Whole lyrics are about fucking guys. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, but they were thinking that because she wasn't traditionally sexual to them.
Right.
And she was elevating all these other female artists. She was
Yeah.
helping 702 get better. She was helping Aaliyah get better. She was helping Tweet get better. She was helping all these female artists get into the spotlight. And they just weren't used to that. It was weird.
Yeah.
And my wife had a really interesting point that she was like, she was straight but non-binary at the same time. In the set,
Good way to put it.
when she said that, I said, Prince. Because that was my connection to that. It was like, yes, okay.
Wow.
Not fitting these roles that you anticipated.
Right. Yes.
So you had somebody who was non-binary in the sense that they weren't going to do what you anticipated they were going to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because when I think of like how she's not really mentioned as one of the greatest female rappers. You know what I mean? Like you don't hear Nicki Minaj paying homage to Missy.
To anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too. Right. Or Cardi. Like you don't hear them shouting out Missy. But they are, to me, they're more descendants of Missy than they are of Lil' Kim.
And by the way, the two people on this album that Nicki owes the most to are Busta and Missy.
Busta and who?
Missy. And I was watching Joe Budden. I don't know why I watch these Joe Budden videos. But Nicki was being interviewed by Joe Budden. I just kind of wanted to see if they were going to fight or something. And they're asking her about Zay, and she's like, yeah, I'm the best female rapper of all time. There's no one even close. And I instantly was like, no, Missy, sorry. Not close.
Yeah.
But it was weird because then I was like, yeah, she took a lot from Missy. But she also took like a lot from Busta Rhymes' flow.
Right.
Busta Rhymes' flow is unbelievable. We should talk a little bit about Busta, because 1997 is the Busta Rhymes year.
Yeah.
Dangerous comes
Yes.
out, right? He's got $1 million videos that are amongst the most important videos ever, right?
Yep.
Can't
Yeah.
You can see Dangerous. Um, there, I mean, he's at his peak. His powers are at his peak, and that kind of rambunctious flow was a next level. It was brilliant,
Right.
and it was really just him and old dirty bastard who could sound like that.
Yeah. Could tap into that energy. Yeah.
Right. And she definitely took that. She
Yep.
definitely took that, and definitely took that biomythography-ness of Missy, the density of the sexuality, the fantasy stuff, the otherworldly stuff, definitely worked that into her deal. So, yeah, if you're a Nicki fan and you think she's better than Missy, I guess that's okay. I guess I can just say she wouldn't be here without Missy.
Yeah.
So, who cares?
I mean, and it doesn't just, her influence doesn't just cover female rappers. I mean, there's also a lot of male rappers nowadays that could be have direct ties to Missy, as far as I'm concerned.
The other thing I don't think she gets credit for is how she helped inform what Timberland became.
Oh yeah.
Because, this is where we should talk about it. This is like maybe the last great topic on this Missy thing, because honestly, listen to it, you'll know exactly why we love it. But when you talk about a producer and a rapper, or a producer and a rap group, and what makes that connection special, in this case, Timbaland wanted to just throw you off. He wanted to make bangers that threw you off,
Yeah.
incorporated weird sounds. I'll tell you, I listened to this album, and I would have to pause it because I thought my son was downstairs banging something fucking weird. Not a drum, but something like the wall or something, like a hand. Like, and then I'd be like, it's in the fucking beat again. Um, Timbaland incorporates all these weird things into the beat, and Missy took that and incorporated weird things into the rhymes.
Yeah.
Izzy, hit me with the he. She and with the famous work it stuff where the line is like backwards,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, and she just likes that and keeps it. That is insane. But Missy would raise the levels on what Timbaland was doing. You want to get weird? Let's
Yeah.
get weird.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be weird, you got to know that the artist. Well, as a producer, if you're gonna do something weird, or I guess you could say in anything in general, if you're gonna do something weird, you got to know that the person that you're working with is gonna be able to keep up and not get swallowed up by the weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
And Missy was able to go in there, march with him like hand in hand. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want to get weird? I'll match your level of weirdness, and we'll both get really weird.
Yeah, I mean it's so try and the pairing. I don't know why it stuck out to me, but the pairing I thought of was Clips and Pharrell. That
Yeah.
the Clips introduced a lot of us to Pharrell.
Right. Yeah.
Songs placed. I mean, obviously, what by Nori is like a big deal, and that came before.
I mean, but grinding was the one for the casual fans. Grinding was what put the Neptunes on the map.
And I think it was because they were perfectly oppositional, right? So the Clips were in all black, rapping their ass off about cocaine
Oh man.
without moving their faces at all, just like, and Pharrell's beats were so animated and so weird.
Yep. Brown Chad. Yeah.
The contrast, the juxtaposition,
Yeah.
startling, right? Grinding is just like, we're gonna rap for broke, and the hook is just grinding, and that's it. And we're back to rapping. Like,
Yes.
I was shocked when it came out. When Grinding hit, I was shocked because I was like, how did they get away with this? How did they get away with this? And that synergy was special.
Yeah.
And this
That's a good way to put it.
this is a synergy that is special.
And you got to think all of those guys. What's the connection? All those guys are from Virginia.
Totally. Yep.
I mean, the Virginia region. I mean, Missy is from Virginia too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Missy, Timbo,
Genuine.
Clip, Genuine. Yeah. All those guys are. I mean, Virginia was.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it was magic, and they were making it, and they knew no one else was making it.
Right.
Like they're taunting people on the first album. Do you remember the "Bite Your Style" interlude?
Was that off of Lord Willin'?
No, I'm talking about Super Duper Fly now.
Oh, okay.
Right? Timbaland making music will make you want to bite our style. And it was just, yeah, the interlude's called Bite Our Style. Like, you're going to want to bite our style.
Yeah.
They were laughing at music right off. And the term I was telling you about in terms of Missy was song sense.
Mm-hmm.
This is what puts her above a lot of the rappers who are better rappers that are lower on my list. They don't have a sense of song construction anywhere near Missy.
Right.
I remember it in my mind, Super Duper Fly, I remember it for the rain. Do you remember the video with the garbage bag?
Yes.
But re-listening to it, I'm like, Sakatumi is such an amazing song.
Yes. Yeah.
And
that was the highlight of the album. I mean, I love The Rain, obviously. But the highlight of the album was Socket
It's an incredible single. And it's fine to make great music with Little Kim at her best, but to be able to make the Brat sound that good.
Oh, yeah.
And just to know when her voice needs to go up like that and to find the range of what she needs to do. It's shocking, man. It's shocking how good her song sense is, craftsmanship.
Yep.
It makes sense that she could write on Mariah Carey's album and make a banger.
Absolutely.
So let's transition into R&B.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a tough category. Tough category. Do you want to talk about some of the other options we had?
So we had Mariah Carey, Butterfly. Mary J. Blige, Share My World. Share My World. What were the other ones?
EV3 and Vogue.
And Vogue, yeah.
Velvet Rope.
Yep. Damn, I almost forgot about Velvet Rope, but yeah, that came out 97. Whew.
And See You Next Lifetime, Erykah Badu.
Yep.
So yeah, the bad.
Or is it bad? Is it See You Next Lifetime or bad?
Yeah. Baduizm. So it was a murderer's row of R&B albums.
Yeah.
Very hard to select from. And I'm going to make my case for Butterfly. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, During her marriage to label head Tommy Mottola, Carrie had little control of the creative and artistic steps she took to her albums. However, after their divorce, midway through the album's conception, she was able to reflect her creative maturity and evolution in the writing and recording. She wrote in Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel that she considered Butterfly her magnum opus and a turning point in both her life and career. It was certified 5 times platinum and has sold over 10 million copies worldwide. And I would say it's the bridge between the takeover of hip hop and the pop world. None of the top pop artists ready to incorporate it. Mariah is from New York. Her father was black, Venezuelan. She could walk in the studio and ask Nori to pass the blunt. Real story, by the way. Call up ODB for a feature, and it works. It makes sense that Puffy and Trackmasters are so involved in this transitionary period for her because he creates the same space for Mary J. Blige in her first few albums. He had a really good sense of how you sell black music to those previously uninitiated. While the singles Breakdown and Honey are full force genre bending, a lot of the body of the album is breezy 70s feeling R&B that is like Dionne Warwick or Roberta Flack.
No.
Sometimes pop songs carry connotative stress. You can feel that the artist slash company slash team is throwing the kitchen sink at you in order to make a hit. Lady Gaga. On Honey, she finds a groove that is easy, and at 57 minutes, it breezes by quicker than it makes any sense.
Yeah.
Trackmasters facts. In 97 alone, here is who Trackmasters produced. They produced Face Off on In My Lifetime Volume 1 for Jay-Z, The Roof on
Wow.
Butterfly, Big Willie Style, Will Smith. They did 12 songs, including Jiggy, Miami, and Men in Black.
Wow.
5 songs on The Firm, 4 songs on Share My World, 4 songs on LL Cool J's Phenomenon, and Hold Me on Brian McKnight's Anytime. They were a huge part of that wave of black music taking over the radio. Yep.
Wow. I didn't know that they worked. I didn't know that they worked on Big Willie Style, because I mean that was you could make an argument that Big Willie Style.
I mean, those songs are enormous.
Yeah, I mean, Getting Jiggy with It, the Men in Black, Miami. I mean, those were the first. What I'll say is, those were the first really hip hop songs that were huge pop songs, in my opinion.
Yes, totally, 100%. I hated them at the time.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. Backpacker tendencies, right? I was somewhere staring into the booklet for Black Star, reading but
Wow.
But no, you need people like Trackmasters who can flip between both worlds, right?
Yeah.
You can give Jay a dope song and then move over and give Mariah a hot song.
Yeah, commercial, like moving between commercial. I don't want to say artistic, but can tap into that commercial. Knows what's going to sound good on the radio.
Yes, can bring enough elements from the grimier side to it to make it work, so it won't sound like an awkward partnership.
Right.
Sprinkled in there. Yeah, no, I think it's a really interesting album, and I think it kind of has the ease it has is something that is very much missing from the pop albums of today. The pop albums of today are reaching, and while this was the top team, right? Like
Yeah.
I looked back, I was like, oh, she sold 5 million albums of Butterfly. That's awesome. What did her last album before that do? Well, 10 million. Holy
Yeah.
shit. What did the album before that do? Oh, the album before that, that's 10 million. And then there was a Christmas album that was 6 million. And that's
Yeah.
just in the US.
There's still that single still goes number one every year.
She's
The Christmas. Yeah.
and this is gonna put me out. This is gonna put me out for a lot of people in my generation. I was a side picker back in the day. I picked a side and I stuck with it. There was always a battle between Whitney and Mariah. There was always a
Mm-hmm.
Cold War there. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No.
I was Team Mariah, 110%.
What made you Team Mariah?
I thought her voice was better. I thought her team was better. I thought the music.
Well, the team. Yeah. I mean, the team being better, obviously. Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying. Yeah.
Remember that time? Was it the nice old guy who used to run Jive? I don't know, Clive something. Clive Davis.
Clive Davis.
He had Whitney on his label, and he brought her new album to Neo. What do you think of this, Neo? And Neo's like, this is awful. This doesn't have any personality. Like Whitney didn't have a consistent personality to her music. You didn't. It was always up in the air. Think of like Janet and Mariah. You always knew what you were going to get.
That okay. Consistency. You're right. Okay, that's a fair point. I mean,
it's not a
in
knock
my
on
opinion,
talent. It's a knock on her team, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fair point. I mean, but you got for me, I think Whitney's peak was like the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah, that first Whitney
And,
album it goes. There's no denying.
yeah, and I think Mariah kind of built on what Whitney did, and her peak was near the late mid to late night. Well, you could even go 2000s because she had Emancipation of Mimi.
I mean, that's a great album too. I think she had a longer career. I think she had a better career. I'm
Yes.
Mariah all the way. It was fun re-listening to this album.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and some of the weird album cuts I really enjoyed, man. I Close My Eyes. Like, she's in a weird position where she can do songs with Jay-Z, songs with Heartbreakers, songs like Fantasy with ODB, but she can also do Endless Love with Luther.
Yeah.
And, the Boys to Men, and like she really knows R&B music.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was surprised that she actually had Prince wrote a song. The song, I believe it's
covered it. She covered it. It's on Purple Rain. The Beautiful Ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a cover with Drew Hill.
Oh, I thought he wrote it. Yeah.
Did,
oh, it's a cover.
Did.
Okay.
It's on Purple Rain. Yeah, The Beautiful Ones.
I didn't know it was a cover.
On Purple Rain. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to Prince's version, by the way. It's significantly better. But I don't know why people cover Prince songs. Seems like a terrible idea. I'll just be honest. Be clear about who Prince was. Prince was not a nice man. He was exacting. He turned to Terry Lewis Terry Lewis said, he was in his band. He was like, hey, I got to get paid more. I got a kid. He turned to him and said, rock stars shouldn't have kids. He was acting. This is to say, those songs are kind of perfect. Make a better Purple Rain than he did. It's done. It's done. Your version is going to be bad because it's not the one he did. He put a lot of time into it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure she put a lot of time into it, but sorry, man. Prince. It's, you know?
Yes, fair point.
Yeah. So it's, but no one's going to be mad at you for, you cover Prince and you don't, it doesn't come off well. It's like losing to Kobe in the playoffs, it's fine. Everybody does it. So but that was mine. I really like that album, and it really is what is missing because also the people that are doing pop now, I have to call this out. They want to be pop stars, and they want additives of R&B. They want additives of hip hop, but they don't actually care about or know any of it.
Mm.
Looking at you, Megan Trainor. But you could tell that they're having fun doing it, or whatever. But like, you can tell Mariah rocks this shit. She's at home listening to the Stylistics and the OJs and fucking doing her shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why. I mean, Mariah was such a singular talent, or I shouldn't say is such a singular talent. Like you can't replicate like you can't replicate Prince songs. You can't really replicate what Mariah does because she's so singularly talented.
Yep.
So she knows how to, like, that Honey song, like, for me, like that Honey song, there's no reason that Honey song should be that good as it is.
Yeah, there's no way that's a single. How is that your first single?
Yes. I mean, for it to be as good as it is and big as it was, is a testament to how talented, how singular a talent she was.
I think she was, I think she's great. I think by the way, when people are like, she went nuts with glitter and all that, and I'm like, dude, she sold Elvis numbers.
Yeah.
Elvis was a racist guy who shot TVs and died in his bathroom. Like, it's hard to be that famous. It's hard.
Yeah.
You are that big, it's hard. You're not like, oh, you're Carla from Cheers. How are you doing? It's not the same thing.
No. I mean, Mariah Carey has a claim to be one of the biggest pop stars ever.
Right. So, yeah, it's the kind of star that we're missing a little bit. But so you thought Baduizm was the way to go. Sell me on Baduizm as the pick.
I think what it was that I saw more direct descendants of Baduizm than I did for Mariah Carey. And it goes back to the point that what Mariah does is so, like, her talent is so singular, you can't replicate that. You can't copy that blueprint because that blueprint is only for Mariah Carey. Only Mariah Carey can pull that off. What Badu was, what I'll say, she's not the greatest singer ever, no, but you can, the blueprint that she laid out on Baduizm was copied and used by many artists, particularly neo-soul artists.
Still is.
That followed after her.
Yep, still is.
And she was the godmother of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, she's the single most important neo-soul artist in my mind. She's kind of the Fiona Apple of R&B.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in, does her thing, bops out, and yeah, I've just never seen anybody who cares about R&B say anything bad about her.
Right.
Um,
I mean, if you think about it, she's worked with, we were talking about Tiana Taylor. She was on Tiana Taylor. Like, Tiana Taylor reached out to her to get that cosign from her.
right. I mean, how does this the question, how does this historical trend fit into our times in regards to Baduism? It is that she put a personality to the music
Yes.
that that you can still see in SZA.
Yep, that's exactly who I was thinking.
So, like, as my favorite, I decided my favorite moment on Baduism is that Afro interlude.
Okay. You really like the interludes. I love that. You're
Love
right.
and hate. By the way, my least favorite interludes of 1997. Wyclef Jean, The Carnival. It's mostly interludes, and it's terrible. It's his group, the Refugee All Stars, doing all the voices. So one of them's pretending to be an Italian cop, and the other is just awful. Anyway, whatever. I still love Bubble Goose, great song. But the Afro interlude is where she's like joking that his afro's gonna be weird on one side if he doesn't like comb it out.
Okay.
You remember this?
I mean, I don't pay too much attention to the interludes.
It's
You know what I mean? Like, I let them
very
wash over me.
similar to like the Green Eyes song that I always reference from Mama's Gun, right?
Okay.
My eyes are green because I
Right.
eat a lot of vegetables. Doesn't have nothing to do with your new friend. There's a mixture of like pain, longing, sorrow, but humor and strength
Yes.
that is all wrapped up in that. And that's what Badu brings to the table.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But my only knock on this album and why I didn't go with it is because the production is so sparse, dude. If you listen to it, some of these songs are just like
Yeah.
a light piano and a hi-hat occasionally. Like there isn't anything going on production wise. It is
Yeah.
her. She's the whole effing show.
Yes. Yeah.
Stripped
And
down.
she, I mean, her personality, and I tie it to Missy. I tie it to Super Duper Fly. Like, she came out of the gate with an established personality. Like, I hear Baduism, and I know who Erykah Badu is, and she's been consistent for the last 97. So it's been like 20 something years, right? Yeah, 20 something
Yeah.
years. She's been consistent for 20 something years, and the character or the personality that she established in Baduism has lasted for over 20 years, and same with Missy. So that's why I had to put it. That's one of the reasons why I put it as my top R&B album in '97.
Something to keep in mind about how different her perspective was than everyone else's. Um, I was listening to an interview years ago. Someone asked her the kind of straight question of like, hey, what album influenced your first album, right? And she said, man, when Illmatic came out, I wanted to do that.
Mm.
I wanted to spit. So her influence was all the Wu-Tang, the Nas, was the lyrical people out there.
Wow.
He wanted to come with lines.
But wow.
People don't know, like, Call Tyrone is a joke she had with her band. It was a joke song they would play in between songs. They just like developed legs. It just freestyled and became a thing. She's
I
she
didn't know that.
she wasn't trying to, like, you know, I want people to hear my broken heart. She was ready to take this art. You know, she was ready to come with everybody. So, and it's one of the things that makes her so different.
Yes. Yeah.
She strives to be ill. Period.
And as you said, I mean, her DNA is in. If you look at R&B now, like her DNA is all over that. Like every aspect of R&B. I mean, Jill Scott,
Right.
Music Soul Child. I'd even go Frank Ocean. You could go out on a limb. Frank Ocean's got some Erykah Badu, SZA. All like, particularly the direction of R&B now. I mean, I'll say that right now, SZA is the probably most important R&B artist. That SZA's sound, well, I'll say SZA's sound is the direction that I foresee R&B developing into in the future. And I mean, we'll see what her next album sounds like.
That's a lane. Yeah, there's a SZA lane now.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's going to be the dominant lane.
And I think Lennox is in that lane. I think there's a few other people that are in that lane that are like, they're gonna be putting words out there.
Yes.
And it's not just gonna be the vibe.
Yes. And that can all be directly tied to Erykah Badu and the foundation that she laid.
I completely agree with your premise, the historical importance of it. What I would say is, people out there, listen to Baduism and then listen to Mama's Gun. I think Mama's Gun is better. I think Badu is one of those artists who does get better.
Right. Agreed. So,
yeah, I mean, that album she had a couple years ago was the kind of, you know, put your phone down or whatever. I think that album's kind of better than Baduism. She's really
Badu. That's what I'm saying. She's that good that she can build on. Right. Just because they're better, that doesn't mean that Baduism isn't something that's like remarkable. You know what I mean? Like that's how good she is.
And what is remarkable, by the way, is that On and On video. That is fucking brilliant.
Ooh, love that video.
Brilliant. All these artists, they have these amazing videos you have to see, right? Like it's crazy. You have to see the Busta Rhymes videos from '97, right?
Yep.
You have to see the Missy Elliott videos, Sock It To Me, The Rain, all the videos that she had.
Yeah. Mariah's videos. Oh, Honey was a big video too.
Speedboats and shit. It's crazy. So, and Badu, On and On, is so perfectly her. It's so her.
Beautiful. Yep.
It's so easy. There's no stress to it. It's beautiful, and I think you can't say enough about it and about the effect it had on the industry.
Yep.
Do you have anything more for R&B, or would you no?
No, I mean, I do want to mention Velvet Rope was excellent as well. Velvet Rope, Janet Jackson.
Velvet Rope. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say Velvet Rope was probably the best R&B album to come out, in my opinion, that year.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Velvet Rope is in the category with OK Computer of like, what am I going to say about Velvet Rope?
Good point. Yeah.
But
yes,
it also, what I told you early on was Velvet Rope felt like the end of an era for her. It felt like a culmination.
Right. That's a good point.
And it felt like her kind of kissing goodbye a whole aesthetic. And Baduism feels like the birth of something that's going to take over the future.
Great way to put it. Yes.
So that's, yeah. And then same with the by the way, nerding out, we're into the recommendations. So Questlove has a podcast called Questlove Supreme. He has like a 3-part interview with Jimmy Jam.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Because Jimmy Jam didn't just produce Janet. He also was in The Time with Morris Day and The Time. He played with Prince. He did all that stuff. So he's had an incredible career. And he said when he got in the studio with Janet, they spent the first 4 days just talking. Just talking.
Wow.
On the 4th day, she says, when are we going to make music? And he said, we already are. And Terry Lewis pulled out Control that he had written out of conversations they had.
Wow. Yeah.
So that spirit continues and grows, and it becomes the singular, fully formed Erykah Badu.
I'm gonna have to listen to that interview. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Questlove Supreme is a great podcast. Also, apparently, Open Mike Eagle has a new podcast, and its first guest is Prince Paul. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Fantastic. So I'm going to check that out apparently. But yeah, no, it's all these albums didn't just change the industry; they changed the ears of the people listening.
Mm-hmm.
It changed the audience, right? Missy taught us how to love weirdos, right?
Yeah.
Badu taught us to just sit and listen and hear this. Elliott Smith taught us to connect to pain and never disconnect. To look into it, and it's Mariah kind of taught everybody what pop R&B should be. My recommendation normally would be Little Dominique's Nosebleed by the Koreatown Oddity on Bandcamp, because it is incredible, and I am working really hard to understand it. I'm listening to it a lot. I just found out today he produced the whole thing, which blows my mind. Because it sounds insane, and it's conceptually fantastic. It's nuts. But I'm going to be writing about that anyway. Here's what I'm going to recommend. My number 3 favorite album of all time is Pieces of a Man by Gil Scott-Heron.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful album. I recently heard Winter in America, the album by Gil Scott-Heron. I think it was 1974. And it's a classic, another straight up classic by Gil Scott-Heron. Winter in America.
Winter in America.
Find the album Winter in America. He did it with a jazz musician named Brian Jackson on piano. It's gorgeous, man. You listen to Gil Scott-Heron in his prime, you can hear like navy blue, like all this stripped down jazzy New York. Great. He would love this shit. He would love it. He was deeply poetic, but he was great at soul music. I mean, it was staggering. Let me see where we should. But yeah, no, he's Brian Jackson, Winter in America. If you got to look up one song, look up "Your Daddy Loves You" by Gil Scott-Heron. It's he's really is one of my heroes in terms of the music stuff and the balance. I don't think there's any straight up poet who's transitioned to music better than he did. He's amazing. But That's all apologies to Watsky, but you're no Gil Scott Heron. Um, but yeah, any recommendations from you?
No.
You gonna recommend Glee or?
No, man. This week was all dedicated to '97. So
Go back to '97, man. Hit those up.
yeah.
EV3, if you haven't heard that, that's incredible.
Oh,
Big
that's
album.
yep.
Dangerous. Busta Rhymes. Listen to Busta Rhymes in his prime.
I will say I will recommend the Camp Lo album was, I mean, I loved, like, some of the songs were like, I was in shock that I had never heard them until the year 2020.
Yep.
Particularly, I'm thinking Sparkle.
Mm.
Obviously, I listen to Lucchini at least once a week.
What an incredible. Yeah.
But Sparkle, and then Cooley. Is it Cooley High? I think.
Mm. I mean, I feel like I've helped you fall in love with Ski Beats. Like,
yeah.
Like you probably did just from Reasonable Doubt and stuff, but like knowing who he is and loving his sound. I think Uptown Saturday Night by Camp Lo is his best production.
Absolutely. I heard that Jay, a lot of the beats that were on that Jay wanted, but he gave him the Camp Lo. And
yeah. No, those are amazing, and
absolutely,
Beats is so great. So many classic albums, the stuff he did with Currency, and people still. He's just one of those weird non-name names, you know.
Yeah.
You see him when you see him, it's on documentaries about great albums. And he's like, yeah, here's how I made the beat.
He beats.
But yeah, look up all that stuff and stay safe. Vote against the bad guys. You know who they are. You know who they are. Patriots fans, I'm watching you. I'm watching how you treat Cam Newton. I'm so excited for that. More to